The calculus student sleeps in because he stayed up too late playing Fortnite like the edgy nerd he is and now pays the price. His dad barges into his room telling him to get up and hurry because otherwise he will be late for school. This is not a healthy learning habit for the calculus student, as he will soon find out. On the way to school, the calculus student begins to wonder, how fast is the car moving? He also wonders what exactly this number means.
He remembers his calculus knowledge and looks at the speedometer and deduces that the car's position is increasing at a rate of 40 miles per hour. So, at that point in time, the instantaneous rate of change of the car's position is 40 miles per hour. Calculating an average rate of change, such as the average rate of change of the position of a car that travels, say, 5 miles in 10 minutes, is something that the calculus student has been doing for years. The instantaneous rate of change of something, which is what a derivative tells him, is an extension of this idea. The calculus student learned about limits in precalculus. In calculus, he learned that a derivative is basically an average rate of change over an interval whose size approaches 0, or gets infinitely small. If we define the car's position with a certain function, call it x of t, then we can calculate a function that will spit out the instantaneous rate of change of x of t at any time t, v of t, which would be the velocity of the car. The calculus student will learn how to do this for all sorts of functions in his calculus class.
As soon as the calc student gets to school, he heads to history class, where he nods off because he stayed up very late playing Fortnite last night. When the calculus student gets to calculus, his favorite class, the teacher starts talking about how to calculate the derivative of a function and how to use that derivative to get information about the function. She also talks about the many derivative rules, like the power rule, the sum rule, the product rule, the quotient rule, and the chain rule. She also talks about how the derivative is represented by dy over dx, and the operation to take the derivative is represented by d over dx, and does some more examples on the board. It's a lot of new information, so the calculus student decides to read over his notes before the next class. This is what his note sheet looks like. Taking notes is one of the calculus student's better habits, unlike falling asleep in class. This will help his grade, especially when it comes to taking tests or studying for the AP exam. When his calculus class is over, he heads to his apes class, which is right next to it. The class passes uneventfully, and he heads to lunch where he has a delicious school lunch masterpiece of poor quality hamburger and soggy fries. The human geography teacher is teaching from home today, so the class is in the library. Today's topic in the class is population growth.
The calculus student learns that while the global population is still growing rapidly, the rate at which the population is growing, or the derivative of the population with respect to time, is actually decreasing. At some point, the global population is expected to stop growing entirely. This relationship can be very roughly approximated with a logistic curve, whose equation can be remembered with the mnemonic Lice minus Licht, and whose instantaneous rate of change is directly proportional to both the current population and to the difference between the carrying capacity and the current population. The calculus student learns about logistic growth in detail in AP Calculus BC.
The calc student enjoys running and is on the track team. His workout today is an easy 5-mile run, and he runs it while blasting EDM through his knockoff AirPods. He doesn't think that much about math because his music is too loud. After school and track practice, the calculus student is tired. He starts on his homework, but decides to mess around on Snapchat for a while instead of finishing it. The calculus student's brain does not perform well at night. He is irritated that his brain is not working well when he does his homework and curses himself for being susceptible to the pressures of having a social life. After finally doing his homework, the calculus student concludes that calculus is infused into the fibers of the universe he exists in. After pondering this for a while, he slowly drifts off to sleep and thus ends this day of a calculus student.